Live to 120 Secrets of the Modern Day Japanese Blue Zones. Part 9 The Final Conclusion. That's something I'm going to talk about today, so stick around. Hi, my name is Hachiaki Takamiya. I am the author of the Ikigai Diet and Ikigai Biohacking. Okay, so finally, this is the last video on the series Live to 120 Secrets of the Modern Day Japanese Blue Zones, right? So finally, I'm going to reveal the actual secrets of the modern day Japanese Blue Zones. So are they different from secrets of the Blue Zones or the secrets of the old Japanese Blue Zones? Yeah. So please watch the video until the end. Yeah. This is going to be a very useful video for you to actually apply into your life. So by the way, last night in Japan was the full moon. Yeah, it's kind of a day area. I mean, compared to North America and maybe half day area from Europe and so on. Yeah. So we had a special celebration called Jugoya. Usually we do it on a full moon in September. Yeah. And you probably have a harvest moon. Right now, maybe it's happening kind of soon. Yeah. So the full moon, as I said before, is a good time to celebrate, to do ima iwai, to celebrate the present moment, like be happy about what you have and what you do right now. So be grateful for things you already have. Yeah. So please celebrate with the harvest moon tonight. All right. Now, so this was the picture from my Handeki celebration, the 60 years old celebration with my other classmate of the junior high school. We had a junior high school reunion in Nagano Prefecture. Yeah. So this was the time when I actually started thinking of making this series because I got together with my old classmates. We're all 61 years old, and then they were from Nagano and I'm from Shiga. So the two prefectures, which are the longest lived in Japan at the moment. So kind of witnessing the people who are entering to the senior year in those longevity zones. Yeah. So I could also feel the reality. Not everything is perfect. We don't live in a utopia. Yeah. Therefore, I wanted to kind of a broadcast the reality of the blue zones, but also possibilities too, because it is true that we are living longer than average people, and there are certain secrets that people can learn from. Right. Okay. And then, so let's sum up what the modern day Japanese blue zones are. So are they different from old Japanese blue zones? Okay. So the old Japanese blue zones are like Okinawa. Yeah, because Okinawa is part of the blue zones, and many people think of Okinawa when we think of Japanese blue zones, right? But I have made videos before about Japanese blue zones, and in those videos, I was more talking about the research done by Dr. Shoji Kondo, who discovered many long-lived villages in Japan long time ago, like 70 years ago or something. So some of those long-lived areas with the recent areas such as Shiga, Nagano, including Okinawa, I sort of defined as Japanese blue zones. But that was like a few years ago already. And then now, because we recently had this update of the average life expectancy ranking by prefectures in Japan. And then, yeah, Shiga came to the top. So I've kind of updated my understanding of the modern day Japanese blue zone too. So Shiga Prefecture, Nagano Prefecture are the two longest living prefectures in Japan at the moment. Therefore, they are part of the blue zones. But the location isn't as relevant today as 70 years ago when Dr. Shoji Kondo did his research, because around that time, geographic like element was very strong. I mean, people had a different kind of diet. and even lifestyle based on their environment, whether they live in a cold climate or warm climate, whether they live near the mountains or, by the coast and so on. Today, everywhere in Japan, people have the same diet and people have relatively similar lifestyles. Yeah. So the location doesn't matter so much, but more who you are, the people. Because even in Shiga, there are healthy people, but there are unhealthy people. And even in Aomori, which is ranked at the bottom of the ranking, there are healthy people too. Yeah. In fact, so Shizenha people, the young naturalists who read the kind of lifestyle that centenarian led, yeah, today, yeah. So they are the key, and they are everywhere. Not only in Shiga and Nagano, they are in Aomori too. They are in Akita, Ibaraki, and Kyushu, and many other places. So the location isn't as important as before, yeah. And then Japanese natural health, yeah, because many Shizenha people are interested in Japanese natural health too. So I kind of created a not so much zones, but the culture, yeah, like the modern day Japanese longevity culture, if you like, yeah, are the four things: Shiga, Nagano, Shizenha, and Japanese natural health. Right. So to sum up, the location isn't as relevant today. And the Japanese countryside in general is a land of longevity. Not so much about the regions, but the countryside in general, but not so much urban areas, but the countryside, because that's where many people practice what is called Satoyama lifestyle, this circular, sustainable lifestyle. Yeah. Yet, not every countryside, yeah, places which has a certain measures applied by the prefectural government. Yeah, those are the example of Nagano and Shiga. Yeah, both prefectures, they made certain measures to improve people's health and longevity. Right. And then not all aspects of the traditional lifestyles are good. Yeah. So, like for example, neighborhood association, which act as a mutual aid group, which is like Moai in Okinawa. Yeah, it's not always good. Yeah, has too much work, and it is a burden for the younger generation, and government governance is not democratic, and the system is not sustainable because of it, because many young people are leaving the community, so old people have to live alone and so on. Yeah. And so the Shizenha people, the naturalists moving to the countryside with new mentality is the key. Yeah. They are different from the traditional centenarians because of this mentality. Yeah, I will explain that little bit more later. Yeah. And then Japanese natural health. Yeah. So that is the key. Although not everybody in Japan practices Japanese natural health. Yeah. So there are regular people who lead lay life. And then the centenarians are no exception. Yeah. Most centenarians just led a regular lay life. Yeah. They are not monks, or they didn't necessarily practice martial art or Japanese healing art or anything. Yeah, so they didn't know some of the secrets of the kind of a monastic lifestyle. Yeah. However, Shizenha incorporates monastic culture into lay life, such as fasting. Yeah, so they practice fasting while regular centenarians didn't. Yeah. Okay, so they bring ancient science and modern science to the table. They are open to modern science as well. So they don't just stick to the tradition. And if necessary, if the traditional approach isn't scientific, then they are flexible enough to change it. Yeah. Okay, so what are the secrets of the modern day Japanese blue zones? Yeah, so what can we learn from these Shizenha people based on the Japanese natural health, yeah, to apply for our own health and longevity. Okay, so one is Satoyama life. Yeah, so that is the same as the lifestyle in most blue zones and all Japanese blue zones too. Yeah, the centenarians led Satoyama lifestyle, this sustainable lifestyle in the countryside. However, today it is a little different because Satoyama lifestyle does not exist anymore. So when the centenarian lived, yeah, when the sort of centenarian who appears in, blue zones, they kind of lived maybe, 30 or 40, 50 years ago. Yeah. So around that time, it was norm. They didn't have to do anything. They just follow the tradition. They just follow the custom in their neighborhood and they could live Satoyama life. But today, you have to be an outlaw. You have to be an outsider to lead Satoyama life because majority of the people in the countryside use chemical fertilizers. They use agricultural chemicals. They don't practice organic farming. So if you are doing organic farming, then people laugh at you. People think that's unrealistic and so on. So you need to have a very strong will to stick to the old method in spite of the fact that majority of the people are not, right? So it's a different story from that time when many of the centenarians, the blue zones, lived. Yeah, so you have to have a strong will and a new mentality. Right. And then exercises too. So in the past, moving naturally was good enough because people are self-sufficient and there was so many different types of work in everyday life, such as working in the garden, but there are all kinds of work involved. If you have a trees, you kind of stand up and you pick, fruit from the trees and so on. Or if you have a rice field, a different kind of a movement, or if you go to the mountains and cut trees or chop firewood, and there's so many different, or carpenting, yeah, to cover most like a movement, most exercises we need. But today it's not always the case. Therefore, you need to have a little coordination into your exercises. Of course, you want to incorporate your natural movements such as gardening, but you need to give additional exercises to yourself to cover things that natural movement doesn't cover, such as stretching, because you don't usually stretch when you work in the garden, right? Or sprinting, that's something you don't do in daily work, yeah? Or hanging and stuff like that, like sort of straightening your spine is very critical, especially if you are squatting a lot and bending your back. Yeah, if you continue that kind of posture, later on in your life, you might have a back problem. So to adjust that, you need some posture correction. You need to do hanging and that kind of thing. Yeah. So today, in the today's blue zone, you need to have coordinated exercises as well as natural movement. And then, so the people in the modern day Japanese blue zones eat washoku, just like the centenarians in the old Japanese blue zones. However, again, in the past, washoku was natural. People using organic ingredients. There were no artificial additives and so on. So people didn't need to worry about anything. They could just eat whatever was available or whatever was prepared, yeah, without questioning. However, today, washoku is not natural anymore. So you need to be consciously select the ingredient. You need to choose organic ingredients and you need to avoid artificial additives. To do that, you need to educate yourself. Yeah. So education is critical in modern days. Yeah. So, in the last video, I talked about how people in Tohoku eat natto and yet still short-lived. And that was because there are other causes, such as they have a high salt intake and so on. But also the way they eat natto isn't optimal. They are eating natto with white rice, and they're eating a lot of white rice with natto. Yeah, so the more natto they eat, the more rice they eat. Yeah, right. So because the fact that you eat natto doesn't mean you're health conscious. And most Japanese people are not health conscious. And a lot of Japanese people are ignorant when it comes to, health and, healthy lifestyle in general. So you see a lot of disparities when Japanese people talk about, Japanese cooking and so on. Like, when you watch some YouTube videos presented by Japanese people, sometimes, yeah, you see that contradiction. Like the other day, I was watching this natto recipe video, and I was very surprised because, some of the recipes included white bread and, of course, white rice, but also, they were using cooking methods such as microwaving. I mean, what is the point of, introducing healthy superfood natto when it is combined with unhealthy dietary practices like that? Yeah. So you need to be careful. If you want to learn washoku, or if you want to incorporate washoku into your diet, please learn from natural Japanese people, shizenha people. Yeah. And you just learn from the people who know what they're talking about. And then shizenha people have happy mentality in general. Yeah, they like to think positive. They want to stay happy most of the time. Yeah, and so I am very easygoing, as you can see when I, often talk about how you can cheat and so on, right? Yeah, like even I'm eating a piece of cake. Yeah. Um, Now, so this is my personality, but also it is to do with Japanese Japanese are ambiguous people. So we are not always logical. Yeah, that can be problematic, but that also means we can be flexible too, because we don't always see things as black and white. Not everything is clear. There are a lot of ambiguous areas or the vague area, and you don't always stick to like this is correct or this is right. Yeah, the problems with a logical thinking. I mean, logical thinking itself is good, but when you stick to your logic or whether this is correct or this is wrong and so on, sometimes you become confrontational, right? Because you want to prove that you're right. And but by proving you're right, you're also saying the others are wrong. Yeah, both people cannot be correct at the same time. So to be right, you need to make others wrong. So that's when the confrontation, begins. So I see a lot of health conscious people in the West always arguing about, which camp is right, which diet is better, which form of exercise is better, and so on. But then what is the point, even though if you are correct, even though your method is optimal, what is the point if it creates confrontation and people feel bad, about each other, and you cannot stay happy and positive? Yeah. So Japanese people are kind of harmonious in that sense because we avoid confrontation. That is why sometimes we choose to be ambiguous, because staying in that kind of middle ground or sort of vague area, you allow people to make mistakes, and you allow you to make mistakes. Yeah, you're not perfectionist, but this is the secret to kind of staying balanced. So occasionally it's okay to cheat. It's okay to eat cake or, other unhealthy food, as long as you are staying on a healthy diet most of the time. That's what it's count. And then uh, governmental intervention is also apparent in the modern day Japanese blue zone. In the case of Shiga and Nagano, yeah, both prefectures have some kind of initiative done by the prefecture. But that is not really up to us as a citizens. Yeah. So if you're lucky enough to live in a place where the government does something, that's okay. But Otherwise, what can you do? Yeah. So what you can do is you can always take the initiative to create a discussion. Like in my community, so we have organized so many events to, discuss the future of our town, how we can transform our town to be more sustainable, more organic, and so on. And then finally, we are going to start organic school lunch at one of the elementary schools in our town. And this was due to many of the events like that we have been organizing in the last 10 years. So um, it is quite, you don't have a decision making power, but you can do something to get your municipality to do something for your community. And then that activity can become a network. Yeah. And then so in the case of our town, we have a local network, and we did an organic school lunch group. And then some people are setting up, or some people have set up free school. And then some people doing trust rights, field preservation, and also individual communication are going on. And then that can become modern Moai, a mutual aid group. It's a place where you kind of support one another for your own health, but for the health of the community. Yeah. And then that means maybe having regular dinner parties with the Ikigai diet and creating a hub for the right tribe. Yeah, having the right tribe, or surround yourself with the right tribe is very critical today. And then finally, Ikigai. Yeah, definitely you want to have an Ikigai. And then, so one type of Ikigai is daily joys and pleasures. So, yeah, it's good to have something like that. Like, I enjoy Nordic walking, so that's my Ikigai. Or, I like to drink coffee in the morning. That's my Ikigai too. Yeah. And then probably those type of daily joys and pleasures are what are considered to be ikigai in many of the blue zones in the world. Yeah, all the people do have something that they can enjoy and they can look forward to in everyday life. Yeah. However, another kind of ikigai is like a life mission. Yeah. So you have something that is like the base of your existence, really. I mean, this is the one that you live for. Yeah. Like for me, it is writing. I mean, of course, I mean, I enjoy Nordic walking and other things, and that's my ikigai. But I mean, compared to writing, I mean, that is very small. I mean, writing is something that makes me feel I am here. I'm here on earth. And that's the reason for my existence. Yeah. I feel motivated because I have a purpose to write, or including this YouTube videos too, like uploading a video to educate people, to kind of share the information about health and longevity to other people. And then just improve the lifestyle of the people in general gives me so much satisfaction, and this makes me want to continue living. So this is a very big ikigai in that sense. Yeah. And then so shizenha tends to have life missions a lot more than other people. Now, when you talk about the old centenarians, because they lived in the same community all their life, yeah, their life was very simple, but they're very happy people. They probably had, ikigai as, daily joys and pleasures, and also slightly a kind of a mission type of ikigai, such as maybe educating the younger generation or passing down the wisdom to the younger generation and so on. But I don't think many of them thought about changing the world or anything big like that, because they were kind of secluded in a way that they didn't have to think about world problems. But while today we we face the reality of the world every day. Yeah. And then many young people have to think about that, especially Shizenha people, because they deliberately chose this lifestyle. They were living in cities. I mean, they could just follow the crowd. They could just, get a job in regular company and continue working. But they left their job and moved to the countryside and started growing food using organic farming and started growing children naturally. Yeah, in spite of the fact that it is very different from the majority of the people. So they have a strong will, and that means they are inspired by this mission to kind of wanting to change the world. Yeah. So whatever the way they feel the most comfortable, they do something to change the world. So in my case, this is writing, but I have friends who started a cafe, yeah, and our mission was to, make a sort of hub for the right tribe, yeah, so that the cafe was a important mission for her. Or another person started a free school, yeah, for children to accept the diversity in children and many different ways of learning and things, which doesn't have in the traditional schools. Yeah. Or some people became organic farmer and then they grow rice or they grow vegetable or fruit using organic farming, and that is quite difficult with all the current challenge. Yeah, but because they have that mission, they do it. Or someone else just go cycling, yeah, around Japan and so on. So people have a different thing, but they do have some kind of mission. Yeah, it doesn't have to be big, and then usually they are community based. So they think globally, but they act locally. Yeah. Most people don't think of changing the world, or most people don't think that they can change the world, but they can do their part in their community just by acting locally. Yeah. So, anyway, so that is the Ikigai that, make them get up every morning and continue living. Okay, so to sum up, the secrets of the modern day Japanese blue zones are: one, Satoyama life, like authentic Satoyama life. Yeah. And then two, coordinated exercises. And then natural washoku, happy mentality, flexible mentality, kind of harmonious mentality, and initiatives to change the community. Modern Moai, a mutual aid group with the right tribe, and vision-oriented Ikigai. Okay, that's it for today. Thank you for watching. Again, my name is Hachiaki Takamiya. I am the author of the Ikigai Diet and Ikigai Biohacking. If you like this video, please give me your thumb up and subscribe to my channel, and please leave your comment. Yeah. So, which of the secrets of the modern day Japanese blue zones resonated you? Yeah. And which of them do you already practice, or do you want to apply into your life? Please share in the comment section below. Thank you. All right. I'll see you in the next video. Live with your Ikigai.